on our last question, and that is, when elected mayor of Portland, what will you do specifically to improve the business climate in Parkrose?
Several things. One of the most important things we have to do is making sure, as I mentioned briefly, resource distribution is done smartly. Occasionally there's federal dollars that PDC or the city distributes. Very often they're city dollars. I think we have to move beyond just mapping where we're deploying resources and making sure we're deploying them fairly. Making sure that, for instance, when we're doing that mapping and doing that analysis, we're not just counting dollar for dollar, but understanding that investment in a park or a road is different than investment in a gateway domestic violence shelter or in a methadone clinic. We have to make sure we are building livable neighborhoods and promoting economic diversity and not allowing merely economic segregation to segregate poverty in one pocket of the city, which is essentially what the city of Portland's been doing for the last 25 years. That's the most important thing we can do to improve the business climate in this neighborhood and in the neighborhoods that I represent already, that I represent currently in the legislature, because we need not only jobs here, we need customers. And we need an economic development plan beyond strip clubs and strip malls. We've got to figure out how to do that. Now, second, we can take a lesson from other cities, what they have done, and that is really help homegrown businesses. Again, not only by using tax breaks to attract out-of-state businesses, but helping homegrown businesses move through the permitting process, help make sure that they have, like I said, like either a concierge set of river pilot services within the city to help them move from bureau to bureau, desk to desk to get projects done. Make sure that we're not only thinking about the tax break offerings that downtown businesses are asking for, but thinking about the basics that the whole city needs, including this part of town. Third, we need to think about the kinds of projects we do. That means when PDC is making investments, we're doing the kind of neighborhood scale investments and not only big town developments. I'm a supporter of the recent moves to do the things a little more humble, like happened with Lilly Market, that has happened in Lentz, that has happened in other places, that have helped smaller businesses get what they need to grow. And we need those kind of neighborhood scale public works projects to go. And there's more. I could talk about this for a while.
Thank you, Ms. Brady.
Thank you. Just to be very specific quickly, I have committed to say that in my office, I will have an East Portland liaison. This person will be able to work with and be available to anybody in East Portland, but specifically help drive these programs through the city. Secondly, I'm a business person, and I can read a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet and what the forma is. I will be out recruiting businesses to this city every week. I'll be on the phone or on a plane if necessary. I will work, this will be one of my top priorities, is actually business recruitment. But what's important in there is really understanding what I call job math. There's different kinds of jobs that create multipliers, different kind of multipliers in communities. So in many of the communities, the neighborhoods in Parkrose, certainly, much of the business is local. There's a healthcare businesses, there's retail businesses, there's hospitality businesses. Those are important businesses. But from a job math perspective, every traded sector job you create that is a manufacturing job or is providing a service that brings money into a community and sends product out or services out creates 2.2 jobs. We need more traded sector businesses in Parkrose. If we want to actually see this economy churn, we need to do that. So I'll be focusing on traded sector businesses. Thirdly, the permitting system. I have suffered with this permitting system for 25 years, opening grocery stores, and I have the receding hairline to prove it. And we have to streamline this permitting system. We have to make it service-oriented. I think we have a job-delaying permitting system, and I will make it less costly and faster, simply, and less surprises in the whole project. So, looking forward to taking the Bureau of Development Services in my portfolio and really leading the charges on business and economic development for the city.
Mr. Hales.
5 things. First, and most important, listen. There are people that understand this community. Portland's a big, diverse place, lots of business districts, lots of neighborhoods, lots of differences from one part of the city to another. It's important, and I know this about myself, to remember that you're not it's not the smartest person in the room. and that other people have good ideas. Bring that spirit and that humility to this important job. Secondly, the permit process. I've advocated that we specifically adopt one that some people in our Bureau of Development Services have actually done the homework on, and it's been used in Salt Lake where I've seen it operate very effectively. It's entirely paperless. Plan sets go in as CAD files, inspectors go out with iPads, all the inspection reports are in real time, and you can find them with a click of a mouse, not an unreturned phone call. So let's get the city modernized in terms of how it does its work. Then, when we run for office, we're always talking about the things that need to be fixed, and there are some things, but there's some things that are working that we ought to keep. The Neighborhood Prosperity Initiative is one of them. There's some things that the city's doing in terms of partnership with neighborhoods that are this good. And this shift of the Portland Development Commission away from just a focus on big districts downtown to smaller districts in the neighborhood is a healthy thing, and I commend Mayor Adams and the current leadership of the Portland Development Commission for taking those steps. We need to continue those steps and keep going in that direction. And then finally, one way to keep the whole council mindful of the whole city is I'll take city council meetings around the city. Not all of them, but once a month we ought to get out of the building and have our city council meeting in Parkrose High School or David Douglas High School or Wilson High School. Move it around the city to where the people are at a time where people can get there, rather than making people go downtown in the middle of the day from a long way away. Let's bring the deliberation to where they live. And that won't by itself change it, but it will certainly remind us of who we're working for.
And as we move into the lightning round, as we like to call it, I do thank Gail Bash for being our timekeeper. You have to stay focused, you have to do it, and you had to work with my noisy timer. Thank you so much for helping out. Thank you all for your attention. This is your 60-second close. We're going to go in reverse order from when we started. Mr. Hales, you're up first. You have 60 seconds. You might want to include your website.
Okay, that first, charliehales.com, and there's also printed material on the back table there. Appreciate your interest, appreciate your attention. We've all talked a lot about issues and ideas. Let me tell you a little bit more about my private sector experience. I've spent the first part of my career, 10 years, working for a couple of different business organizations. First, the Hotel Motel Association used to represent this property and others around the state, dealing with government. Then I worked for the Home Builders Association. Then I did serve for 10 years in our particularly strange form of government where I got a lot done. The last 10 years I've been working for a national engineering and architecture firm called HDR. And I'm proud of that business success. We've grown that business from 2,700 employees to 8,000. Grew every year, including during the recession. We did it by practicing good, strong team leadership, and that's a trait that actually works very well in public leadership as well, and by understanding how the world works in terms of infrastructure. So I'll bring that private sector experience as well as public sector experience to the important responsibilities of this job. Thank you.
Ms. Brady.
I think Portland needs a mayor, but more than that, we need a mayor for a new era. We need new leadership that understands that you can't just wish for having parks. You can't just wish to have a transportation system that paves roads. You have to have the economics behind it. You have to have the tax base to support those programs. So I started June 1st, kind of as an underdog candidate with a path to victory, and I have said the same thing in every group I've been in. We have to build the job base here, and as a result, I have built the broadest coalition of endorsers and supporters in this race. I not only have support from the most trade unions and in the race, I have the support of the Portland Business Alliance, I have the support of the leading environmental leaders in the state, and I have the Portland Green Party endorsement, the second endorsement to Cameron Whitten, actually. And I'm extraordinarily honored to be, I'm extraordinarily honored to have the breadth of support, and this morning I got the Tribune endorsement, and I encourage you to read it. Thank you so much for your time. I'd appreciate your vote and your support.
And Mr. Smith.
Thanks. You can see my commitment not only for what I'm saying in the context of this campaign, but what I've been working on for the last several years. I have the scars from my own fights with our current mayor over unfairness facing our part of the city. I have calluses on my feet from canvassing for the Parkrose school bond and not just for the Portland Public School bond. I have fought for small business in the legislature. I have on this campaign demonstrated fiscal responsibility that is going to be necessary as we're facing tough budget times, even when it's made it hard for some labor unions which otherwise would have supported me not to support me because I was unwilling to give them the boondoggle they wanted. I've also been willing to make this city and make the case that this city needs to work for the whole city. And I do it in every single living room I'm invited on both sides of the river. That the max line goes through the whole length of the city. That if gang activity festers anywhere, it impacts everywhere. That if we have an economic development plan that doesn't work for the whole city, the economy of the whole city, the tax base of the whole city won't work. I won't need an East County liaison. I will be that liaison. I'm running for mayor.
Thank you very much. Please, a big round of applause. I understand we have at least 50 joint appearances over 6 weeks. We certainly appreciate you making one of them here in Parkrose. Thank you all so much. And now the time everyone's been waiting for, the business card drawing, raffle prizes, and the 50-50 draw.